Caitlin Clark passes Chelsea Gray for 8th most double-doubles. Caitlin Clark is the fastest player in WNBA history to 400 career assists.
Against Aya Wilson's aces, Caitlin Clark recently made history once more by breaking to significant WNBA records in a single game, including becoming the fastest player in history to achieve her 100 assists.
This was her against Aya Wilson, pulling up for a long three right in Asia's face.
The pressure was crazy, the electrifying crowd.
You want to see the Caitlin Clark
exaggeration
effect? This is it right here. This is it. Look at this.
And Clark remained by himself, leading and putting everything on the floor while her team disintegrated. If you're riding with Caitlin right now, please leave a 100% CC comment.
No comparison to Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is the most watched basketball player in world basketball right now. There's nobody that does what Caitlin Clark does.
How special and rare Caitlin Clark is.
Caitlin Clark is a gifted player.
Caitlin is the one.
She's the biggest basketball star in the world.
In a high-stakes clash against Aya Wilson and the Las Vegas Knights, Caitlin Clark did more than just show up. She made history. Aces Clark cemented her status as the WNBA's rising legend by breaking to significant records in a single night.
Clark passes Chelsea Gray for 8th most double-doubles by a guard in WNBA history.
She started by becoming the WNBA's fastest player to earn 400 career assists.
Caitlin Clark is the fastest player in WNBA history to 400 career assists.
This is the kind of record that doesn't just get handed out. It's earned under pressure in the spotlight, and that's precisely where Caitlin was, flashing cameras at fans gathered outside the arena hours before tip-off. She also passed Chelsea Gray to claim the 8th most double-doubles by a guard in league history.
People are coming to tune in, and she's brought new viewership.
She delivered, and her name rang louder than anyone else's in that building.
WNBA rumors suggest Caitlin Clark will be among the first stars making $1 million annually. The most notable of which is, y'all already know who, the needle mover, Caitlin Clark.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from 3. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from 3-point range.
Clark found other ways to dominate, even though she was only shooting 1 out of 10 from beyond the arc. She finished with 19 points and 11 assists, controlling the pace, exposing the A's defense, and setting up teammates. One of her best moments occurred in the second quarter when she pulled up for a deep 3.
One of the big highlights for Caitlin Clark, this was her against Aya Wilson, pulling up for a long 3 right in Asia's face.
It wasn't just about scoring at one point in the first half. Wilson's expression of unwavering confidence didn't just appear on the scoreboard. It sent a message that this wasn't a rookie faltering under duress, but rather a record-breaking floor general who was rewriting the script in real time.
The Indiana Fever, this was in the first half. They were 8 of 11 from the field off of Caitlin Clark passes. All other field goal attempts, 6 of 19.
Every other field objective, that statistic alone, just 6 out of 19, demonstrates the gravity she adds without her distribution. She is the brain, the spark, and the engine behind every successful possession. The Fever just cannot work.
Her explosion on this set is benefiting all the ladies.
Caitlin is moving quicker than anyone anticipated in a league that is based on strength, speed, and accuracy. Breaking to big records in a single game against a dominant club like the Aces demonstrates that greatness, not hype or luck, is what matters most, and the most absurd thing is that she's only just getting started. Caitlin Clark is unique not only because of her stats, but also because of the way she plays, conducts herself, and continues to improve.
And we also see the star power, the shine of a star.
We got CC at the top of the list.
Even though she broke records and created headlines, her ability to do it with vision, toughness, and talent that has earned her comparisons to the greatest player to ever touch the ball. She's been dubbed the Steph Curry of the WNBA, was what truly had everyone talking.
And at times, she reminds me of the best of Bird, Jason Kidd, Chris Paul, John Stockton, all the legends.
And it's not just the logo threes, it's also the rhythm, the release, and the way every shot seems to go in the instant it leaves her hands. Like Steph, she does it off the dribble, creating space where none should be. It's not just talent, it's timing, IQ, and confidence. She gets up for a deep jumper mid-transition in certain clips from this exact game.
This was her against Asia Wilson, pulling up for a long three right in Asia's face.
It drops pure muscle memory and rhythm with hardly placed feet.
Clark scored 32, dished out 9 assists to become the first player in WNBA history to have 100 points, 30 rebounds, 30 assists in a player's first 5 games of a season.
However, after her death, the topic of discussion changed from outstanding shooter to point guard of the future. Several commentators and former NBA players have stated it with LeBron-level passing vision, Clark can swing a one-handed pass to the weak side or shoot a 50-foot bounce pass through traffic without the defense even realizing they've rotated incorrectly. These aren't plays you teach, their instincts. She sees the game 2 steps ahead.
She's been able to bring the eyeballs so we can find out how good Collier is and how good Asia Wilson is and how good all these other women that are super talented are.
And she leads the WNBA in assists as a result. There were many instances of threading impossible passes to Aliyah during this game versus the Aces. While Boston is one of the most targeted and criticized players in the league, she has been heckled, pushed, undercut, and disrespected both on and off the court. Some call this rookie treatment, while others call it something uglier. But no matter how much hate she receives, Clark never stops showing up and never stops competing. Boston is also a master at the women game, even delivering behind the back feeds that caught defenders off guard.
Caitlin Clark passes Chelsea Gray for 8th most double-doubles. Caitlin Clark is the fastest player in WNBA history to 400 career assists. This was her against Asia Wilson, pulling up for a long three right in Asia's face. The Indiana Fever, this was in the first half. They were 8 of 11 from the field off of Caitlin Clark passes. All other field goal attempts, 6 of 19. You want to see the Caitlin Clark exaggeration effect? This is it right here. This is it. Look at this.
In one of the post-game reactions, she was dubbed the Tiger Woods of women's basketball because, like Tiger, people tune in because of her, not the team or the league. When she missed games recently, viewership fell by 52%. She has taken hits. That would shake a seasoned veteran and still returns as if nothing had happened.
She is must-watch TV. I think when she was hurt a few weeks ago, they said viewership dropped by 52%.
That's not a slight decline. Rather, it's a collapse, and it demonstrates a reality that some people don't want to acknowledge. Whether the WNBA likes it or not, Caitlin Clark is now the league's face.
I think she has the Tiger Woods effect, the way he put golf fans in a craze. Whether you're a golf fan or not, you tuned in and you wanted to learn about the game because he was so incredible. I think she has that effect. The one thing I just don't like, and I don't care what people say, I feel like there's a lot of hate on Caitlin Clark, and I think because she's white. Because she's a hooper and she's going out there and bust people's ass every single night.
However, her impact on the games plays speeding it up, expanding the floor, and making the WNBA more thrilling and flashy is more important than merely selling tickets. As one commentator put it, every time Caitlin shoots the ball, I think it's going in, and that's how legends play. The Aces entered this game with a defensive strategy centered entirely on stopping her, but they were unable to slow down her playmaking. Even her opponents and fans who don't want to like her can't help but acknowledge the skill.
Caitlin Clark shoots jump shots from the logo.
She does it. It's so it's just so natural. And to your point, similar to Steph, her ability to do it off the dribble. Every time those two shoot the ball, I feel like it's gonna.
The Fever don't sell out arenas. They don't lead national highlights. They don't even have a chance without Caitlin Clark. But with her, there's always a chance because she's not just playing basketball, she's changing a culture. She's playing with an edge, that little bit of cockiness, that chip on her shoulder, and honestly, she's earned it. You don't survive this much media pressure, this much locker room jealousy, and this much physical punishment unless you have the fire inside to push through it.
The WNBA, they released numbers for NBA TV.
Caitlin Clark, I drew 620,000 plus viewers on NBA TV.
It is a crazy high viewership. Crazy high for NBA TV.
Caitlin Clark makes her return. Caitlin Clark back in action, and 300,000 people showed up.
TV ratings are up 300% since Caitlin Clark entered the league.
They lost not because Caitlin Clark failed, but rather because the squad around her fell apart once more when it counted most. She did everything, made history, made plays out of nothing, and passed like a legend.
This team collapses against anybody. They collapse against everybody. And they've collapsed today. They've collapsed in other games. They collapse with Caitlin. They collapse without Caitlin. They collapse against good teams. They collapse against bad teams. They collapse against everybody. This team are choke artists.
And that's the sadness of this game. To begin, it's clear that the Fever had the advantage, leading by double digits against a struggling Las Vegas squad that didn't resemble the resounding back-to-back champions from the previous season.
What a frustrating result for the Indiana Fever as they blow a 10-point lead and just completely falter in the fourth quarter.
Wilson had a bad dream. Fans were giddy as the Fever were playing pick and roll between Clark and Aliyah Boston in the first half, and commentators were predicting that Indiana would finally make an impact. However, by the time the final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard revealed a different picture. At one point, the Aces went on a huge 16-2 run, and the Fever subsided. The offense stalled and the ball stopped moving. Bad rotations and a coaching staff that appeared disoriented left Clark, who had started the first half with everything going well, isolated and cut off from the offense. It was like déjà vu as she stood on the floor directing traffic, but no one cut or moved.
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. Just so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Even though the system took the ball away from her again when she needed it in the fourth quarter, she persisted and made tough shots, picked up defensive rebounds, and created offense when everyone else froze. It wasn't enough, but that's not her fault. This game validated what supporters and commentators had been saying for weeks.
Caitlin threw that game away, but at least she tried to pull it back. The rest of the team, as soon as they went on a run, they just gave up.
This team only has life because of Caitlin Clark. When she isn't in charge, this team can't score. It's not just a chemistry problem, it's an identity crisis. One statistic made that brutally evident in the first half, Indiana shot 8 of, -1 off of Clark's passes, while all other possessions were only 6 of 19. Without her, the Fever don't know who they are. They play slow, flat, predictable basketball without running or moving, and by the time Clark tries to save them in the fourth quarter, it's frequently too late. The coaching choices have infuriated the fans, who want to keep the Clark-Boston pick and roll that dominated the first half.
The Aliyah Boston-Caitlin Clark pick and roll was fantastic. Aliyah Boston had 18 first half points. And in the third quarter, they started off going to the CC Aliyah Boston pick and roll as well. And they just went away from it.
When the game is on the line, Why give minutes to players who haven't produced anything all season while your stars sit in crucial moments? These aren't small mistakes, they're sabotage, and throughout it all, Clark's body language conveyed that. She was exhausted, frustrated, and defeated, but she was still fighting. She had just made history by leading the team for 3 quarters, and in the 4th quarter, she was stranded. You could see it in her face. This wasn't just a defeat, it was a bird.
Caitlin Clark is 23 years old and she has the weight of the success of the WNBA on her shoulders.
Let's be clear, Clark's stats weren't perfect. She committed 8 turnovers and only made one of 10 3-point attempts, but those figures don't tell the whole story. She was attempting to make something out of nothing since no one else would, and the majority of those turnovers were from forced passes into dead plays.
There's going to be stretches that are really good, and there's going to be stretches that aren't as good, and obviously it's frustrating. You want them to go in, and even tonight I felt like there was a few that felt really good off my hand, and it just didn't go down. And even the mid-range jump shot to start the 4th quarter and the 3 to start the 4th quarter, they both felt good off my hand. So it's just frustrating. And
the fan base's reactions have been overwhelming, angry, and heartbroken not at her, but at a system that keeps wasting her greatness. One creator put it best, this team lacks a backbone. She is being asked to be the point guard, scorer, floor, leader, emotional compass, and closer all at once, and yet she managed to record 19 points and 11 assists.
Clark scored 32, dished out 9 assists to become the first player in WNBA history to have 100 points, 30 rebounds, 30 assists in a player's first 5 games of a season.
The team's half-court offense is like a stalled automobile with no movement or space, just standing around as Caitlin attempts to make something happen. They have no identity and nothing else without Clark.
This team has collapsed with Caitlin. This team has collapsed without Caitlin. This team has collapsed with Caitlin playing well. This team has collapsed with Caitlin playing bad. This team has collapsed against good teams. This team has collapsed against bad teams. This team has no grit. This team has no determination.
Even once neutral analysts are pointing out that this team must be built around Clark, even though she has already demonstrated time and time again that when the offense runs through her, this team becomes dangerous and watchable. And when she finally gets the ball back, she is expected to perform miracles every single night.